Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing The Last of Us Remastered on grounded difficulty, and this is my no damage guide and walkthrough. This is chapter 1. I debated about whether to include the prologue, but since nothing occurs on there relevant to what somebody would need for a walkthrough, I decided to leave it out. It did occur to me that it would give me about more or less 10 minutes to talk about what you can expect on the guide. But then again, since this is about a 30-minute video, approximately, there's plenty of time to go over what you can expect of the walkthrough and just to discuss the minutia of the project itself. It's going to be completely no damage, so it's actually it's actually going to be a good thing this time around too, because I can leave my previous grounded walkthrough up. If you aren't aware, if you weren't here, or if you just didn't know about it, I did a walkthrough for grounded difficulty in 2014. So I said to myself, should I just redux that, and then remove that and replace it with this, or should I strive for something different? And this time I'm going to be striving for no damage. So that's the differentiation. And that will also enable me to keep the previous walkthrough up and then keep this one, so that if there's a scenario on one or the other walkthrough that's not helping you, then you can swap back and forth. And if neither of those are helping you, there's tons of other walkthroughs too that you can check out. Because a lot of the things that occurred on my other run, it's going to be different this time. And hopefully I can bring you more knowledge and better strategies and find things that I overlooked, because it's going to be impossible to find every item in this game. Items are scarce as it is, but so as I looked into the options, and I'll get into this really quickly because nothing is happening here that's important to talk about as far as what you need to do for a certain section. So there is an option to enable HDR. That requires an HDR screen. Okay, so I don't have that, so I don't know if that's part of the PS4 Pro's ability. So that feature is not available to me anyway. However, since I have a PlayStation 4 Pro, there's two categories of enhancements that you can use that you can't if you use a regular PlayStation 4. So what I saw, there's an option to stabilize the frame rate, and I think it was already stabilized if I remember correctly, so when you stabilize the frame rate, it pretty much just locks the game at 60 frames per second. It puts the resolution at 1080p, which I don't know if I can actually see on my screen either. Mine might be 1080i, I'm not sure. And it puts the shadows at high quality. So those are the three sub, the little, those are that's what that entails. So then you can also, there's another category that you can, so if you don't care for that, if you would rather have the visual fidelity better, what you can do is, instead of locking the frame rate at 60, you can have the game target 60 and have the resolution at 1080p super sampled. What does that mean? I don't know. And then you can have the shadows at normal. So that is actually that's the summary. The shadows are less quality actually, because on the frame rate enhancement, the shadows were at high quality, and the shadows on the screen resolution are normal. So honestly, I can never tell about things like that, but I can tell about frame rate. So I have used the frame rate enhancement for the PS4 Pro, and I don't think it. Perhaps the original PlayStation 4, because when I played this game before in 2014, the Pro hadn't come out, and then I was also using a capture card that only displayed 30, and I thought it was I thought it was a true 60 and it wasn't. So it was a mistake on my part. And that's good. I think people should be given the option. Too many games come out these days that are potentially, I don't know, potentially could have the ability to lower the resolution and increase the frame rate like they did with Neo. I didn't. I don't think I got more than a third done with Neo when I played it because I ended up not liking it. But I do remember the settings feature on that game, and they did let you choose 720p 60 over 1080p 30. So I can really see. I think if you're gonna have to sacrifice one thing for the other, you could still make both people. There's two different people. It's a never ending argument. Do you prefer visual quality or do you prefer performance? I prefer the latter. You might prefer the former, and that's fine. But this, the hardware is only what it is. So I can understand if it's going to be 1080p, super sampled and all of that. Like I said, I don't even know what that is. If 30 frames per second is all that it could possibly be, then yeah, I understand that. But if you can make concessions with the visuals, I don't mind that personally. I don't mind a little quality degradation if it can possibly double the frame rate, because 60 frames per second is absolutely wonderful to behold. It's great. So anyway, this is the first drawer that has something over here. The drawer to the left has nothing. The nice thing about this game, guys and gals, is that if I say a drawer or a cupboard or anything like that, or a room has nothing, it never has anything. Like it never varies. It's always going to be categorically true that something is there or it isn't. So there's never any fluctuations, and I like that. Do I like the scarcity of items on grounded? Of course not, but this is grounded difficulty, so I understand that resources are scarce. It's a game built on scarcity as it is and supply management, so I perfectly understand that. Now over here, the last time I did this guide, I mentioned that you can mercy kill this guy if you wanted to and break even on the bullets, but actually what you would be better advised to do is to not mercy kill him and pick up this bullet. That way, you do more than break even, you get one more bullet than you had. So that is where something like a project like this can come in handy, where I could correct the mistakes that I made before. Now, on this infected over here, you don't have to graze the analog stick or crouch aim while you walk, but on the ones, let's just talk about this first. This guy here, it doesn't matter, you can just sneak up to him normally, but when you leave this room and go through the door, you may not be able to see. I think I'm going to pan the camera over to them, but there's two infected feasting on a corpse over to the right, and there are several ways you can choose to move silently in this game so that the clickers can't hear you. You can either just graze the analog stick. Yeah, and for some reason, trust me, if you don't do something like this, those two infected, they'll hear you and come after you. They'll chase you clear up the stairs. So if you want to just graze the analog stick, that's fine. If you want a different option, what you can do is just crouch and aim with a gun, or you can crouch and aim with a brick or a bottle, and that, or a Molotov, whatever you want. I don't use a Molotov. I usually just use the gun. But this is the same speed as grazing the analog stick, and it prevents you from making the mistake of moving too fast on the analog, or it just flat out lets you avoid the hassle, because I think it is kind of a hassle to just graze the analog stick. It's as much of a hassle as having to hold down a fucking button. There we go. Monetization no longer possible. I said a bad word. YouTube's gonna flag my video, or maybe not. I just did some Gears of War videos, and I said the word shit and motherfucker so many times, and I got enabled for monetization. And the last video on the guide, 5-4, the final boss, I looked back at the video. I said hell one time, and I think that's what it caught, because there was no other instance of me using a bad word. I might have used damn, maybe, but I think I used hell though. It was either one or two or both, and then that one got denied monetization. It's so ridiculous. It's I don't want to talk about that. You know what I want to do? I want to bash this game for making you hold a button to walk at a speed that is acceptable. So what I've done, actually, in case you want to know some behind the scenes information, I've gone into the accessibility settings and I switched L1 for R1 because I personally find it uncomfortable to hold L1. And you might say, well, fuck is your problem, man? Who cares about that? Well, if I say it bothers me, that's undeniable and you can't refute it, and you got to respect that. If you said something bothered you, I wouldn't doubt it or wonder. I might wonder why, but I wouldn't diss you for it. So it makes my hand uncomfortable. So I would prefer flat out not to do it personally. So for running, I hold R1. And you could do that if you want to. I like the accessibility settings. They give they give people with disadvantages or disabilities, some options that weren't there in the past. And I don't have a disability. I just I find it uncomfortable to. I might have. Oh, it's because I have carpal tunnel in one of my hands. One of my hands has it, and one of them doesn't. I can't remember which one it is. It must be the left. It must be the left. Because I got tested once. Yeah, that's what it was. Strange how you can have it in one and not the other, huh? But anyway, we are going to be coming back. But anyway, yeah, it makes the mistake of and I've said this so many times that people probably don't want to hear it. But if you don't mind hearing it again, I'll gladly say it, because it makes the Batman and Dead Space mistake of forcing the player to hold down a button to run. And when you're just moving around an environment that's completely free of enemies, and you're just traveling to inspect the game, you shouldn't have to hold anything but the left analog stick, and that should be over and done with. This guy looks like Marcus Brownlee too. It's kind of funny. This dude over here, MKWHB or whatever his name is, the guy with 5 million subscribers. I like his tech channel because the guy he's chill. He's not in your face. I hate people that are in your face, especially if you got a hideous face. Get out of my face, man. And we all know who I'm talking about. So, remember last time I mentioned that Tess can really handle her own over here? She can kill both of these two enemies for you over here, and I know there's three, but she's gonna shoot the black guy, and clearly she's a racist. She really handles her own well over here. And I also should mention that to make the game harder, Naughty Dog has removed the HUD, so that makes the game harder, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. It makes the game harder. No, it makes the game more inconvenient. So I have to rely on my game controller's light bar to know what my health is, and how many shivs I have or whatever. I don't even remember what exactly the HUD had on it. But so there's two enemies left, and these guys will never charge you. So you can actually just hang back here, and Tess will take about, I think, there's at least three. If she hits one of these enemies 3 times, I think they go down. 3 shots. She is more than capable of handling this entire situation. So that bullet that you just picked up back there by the infected, it could be the one you actually need later in the game when you don't have something like something as great as Tess. I know I'm not calling a woman a something. I'm just saying the AI is incredibly helpful here. So the moment I see her put one of these guys down, then I charge the last guy. If the last guy is low on health, he's holding his side like that. Unbelievable detail I didn't even notice that until now. They hold their sides like that. because you can tell he's on his last legs. So then I charge the last guy, and he's not likely to give you a problem. Now, if he gives you a problem, enemies can actually throw in punches without you having the ability to counterattack in this game, which is not a good thing. So why you can't counterattack, I understand that because in Uncharted 1, mashing would win it for you. And then they changed it so that in Uncharted 2 and 3, I think Uncharted 2 had the best combat, quite honestly. There would be a little slowdown when an enemy would hit you with something that you could parry. And that was a lot better in my opinion. But in this game, enemies can get hits on you, which I don't like. Now, the last time I did my project for Grounded, I handled this situation in a way that was that if you try to emulate it, you would have mixed results, probably for definitely not your betterment or your desired outcome. So somehow these enemies know that we just killed the two guys back there so quickly. And it's implied that Tess wants you to take out this guy in the black jacket. So just do that. To grab an enemy, you press triangle. To choke him, you press square. If you want to use a shiv on an enemy, you press triangle again after pressing triangle for the first time. I don't think in this entire walkthrough I'm ever going to be shiv killing an enemy, because I'm going to be saving up all of these shivs for the shiv room doors. I'm also given to understand from memory that some of the shiv room doors aren't worth using shivs on, so I'm going to try to consult my other guide and see what that's all about. But when you get in here, you're going to notice two guys having a conversation, and then this is just a tutorial on stealth, guys. It's completely even the next section I'll get you through every section with ease. These guys are just going to give you their backs for free, and as long as you just wait for them both to turn their backs, then when you grab this guy, Tess will be in sync with you, and she'll knife the other guy just like she knifed the first guy for you. And then the last guy will drop the warehouse key, and then we can move on into this section, which is a bit more difficult than the last one. But like I said, and even the one after it, I'll get you through it without any problems, because that's my job. That's what I'm here for. All right, this first section over here. You just want to wait behind this box for the black guy to go into the threshold of the door below the exit sign, and then we are going to systematically take one by one. So see the guy that's going to the right, his destination is going to be up the stairs, and in a room up there you can see a shadow on the wall, so you can vault over surfaces without this guy hearing. And I'm going to be moving some people a little bit. I'm moving their bodies a little bit. But him, you don't need to drag him anywhere. It's just unnecessary. But this is a really simple encounter, except for one tiny factor, and it is the handling of the final two guys. Just because the black guy is a little his AI is a little sensitive, and now I'm clearly the racist, right, because I said black guy. But anyway, come on up here and just be careful of any loose paint cans. Those can betray your location. And then ideally you want to see the black guy across the way? Ideally you want to take care of him. I think I got the warning music. I've never he thinks he sees something. Regardless of which way he's walking, see the main problem. See, he made a gesture too, like he was gonna come over here and investigate, but he stopped and had a second thought about it. He's basically the problem. So it doesn't matter which way he's walking, he's likely to give you a problem. He's less likely to give you a problem if he ends up to the right of where he is now, but then you run the risk of him seeing you take care of this guy. So when you want to take care of this guy is when the black guy, more or less, you've determined that he's walking back the way he came, because he can see you through the the frosted windows over here. He could see you, so just be careful about that. And his seeing you is usually just that warning music. So I've never had him give me a problem. But what you don't want to do if you're doing this no damage, or even if you're not doing it no damage, don't just run up to this guy and do a punching match, because you don't want to have the enemy get in hits. So what you can do is just do a stealth takedown on him without any problems, and you do a brutal, loud execution. But the game always does that when you stealth take down an entire room and clear a last guy, or when you just clear a last guy with stealth. It does a violent takedown, because it's the game's way of just telling you that the fight's over, and it doesn't matter that it's loud, because, like I said, the fight's over. So, yeah, try your luck with that room. It's not that bad. I've only ever gotten the warning music. Like it's just a warning. Same with this fight. Actually, sorry, this fight. It can be a fight if you want to, but if you're on graded difficulty, you don't want to have fights if you can possibly help it. Sometimes you have to have fights, but if you can save a bullet, always save it. Now, move your way up here behind these drums. You will get the warning music from this guy thinking that he sees something, but you only ever get the warning music. So I'm just going to show you how far you can move bodies in this game. You can move them an incredible distance without the danger of them breaking free. Do they ever break free? They do, but you can hold them for an extremely long time. It's like 10 seconds or more, so you can move them a really long way and move them and hide them and stash their bodies behind pieces of cover. Now, as we move up here with the guy with the bat or the stick, what I'm going to do, I got the warning music, I think, right over there. Now, on my previous guide, the guy in the distance up ahead, he saw this guy's body and came to investigate, or he thought he saw something, and I did a corner takedown on him from this lifter. You can do sidle takedowns in this game. Actually, I think it was more of a front takedown, but the good reason about redoing this project and being able to keep both guides up is that if things aren't working for you one way or the other, you have a good chance of being served at least somehow. So in this instance over here, the guy didn't see the body, I don't believe, because it looks like his AI is pretty unaggroed. He just stands behind, he stands to the side of these pallets over here. Dragging his body over here is unnecessary. So if you would rather not move him, you don't have to. And since these guys don't have ultra sensitive hearing, we can move around with more flexibility. And now we're going to be running over here, and to see that guy over there, if you take too much time, this guy will move, and then you're going to have to wait for him to reposition himself over here and show you his back. So if you just hustle, you'll quickly get over here. In time, if you didn't take this guy out, don't miss this shiv, by the way. In time, if you were to wait a little bit of time, he would have moved from his position. He would have moved probably forward and around the crates up to the left. So now there's just two guys left. The first guy is going to be a very simple kill. The second guy we're going to have to use a distraction on. If you want to, you can throw a bottle at him. And then when you do the punching match, he shouldn't be able to get any hits. But I just don't want to run the risk, because there's a lot of dead waiting time in this game. So after you take care of this, the second to last guy, Tess is going to tell you that there's the door. If you were unaware of the presence of an enemy over here to the right, you would be in trouble. So that's what this guide's for. I'm going to swap my shoulders and throw a distraction over there for him. He's going to go investigate it, and then we're going to do a stealth takedown, and it's going to be the loud takedown, indicating that the fight's over. It's always nice to smash motherfuckers in the face, isn't it? Real nice. So now I'm gonna come back here and grab a brick. It's always better to grab a brick than a bottle. They're all over the place, and it doesn't make a huge bit of difference. But if you are in a situation where a clicker is the last enemy, you can smash their faces in with a brick from the front. Whereas if you try to do that with a bottle, it won't work. So it shows you that the brick is stronger than a bottle, and it makes sense. But anyway, here's Robert, and so I did want to give you a small warning that a lot of this game for me is the traversal of it is itself a puzzle, and there's a lot of times when you might notice that there's a lot of editing. I've had the luxury of being able to do fewer edits on this chapter because, by the way, we've got enough supplies to craft a shiv, so we're gonna have 3 shivs now. And since we did that, you can come over here, and if you're hovering over a bunch of items, you can just hold triangle and you can pick them up in one press of the triangle button rather than having to repeatedly press it. But we did use the blade, some of the blades to make that shiv, and one of the pickups over there was, I think, a quarter of a pair of scissors. So don't despair too much on that front, because you did get a partial blade replacement for crafting that shiv. But this is my second time going through this chapter. I did a practice run the first time, so there will be fewer edits. I think there were about 20 clips in the first one, and even though it was a practice one, I was just experimenting and seeing if I might want to show it. But it had too many edits in it. I made too many mistakes, so this video only has like 6 clips. So many less edits. So I think basically just one more section left. If you ever are wondering why instead of turning the camera around the character instead I do the little quick turnaround, that little Resident Evil 180 turn, it's because the look sensitivity, I don't know, I can't personally, I think I can't remember the options, guys. There are sensitivity options, but I don't know if it has look sensitivity. If it does, it's invariably at the highest sensitivity, because I always have all the sensitivities up. Sometimes I decrease the aiming sensitivity a little bit in games, but I always want the look sensitivity to be the fastest, because why not give yourself an advantage if you can, you know? Anyway, see that soldier by the door? He's going to be our last target. And you also have to bear in mind that the checkpoint up here is going to be just exactly that. It's going to be a checkpoint. It's going to be me having reset the checkpoint once I know that I got the checkpoint. Why did I reset it? Well, it's not really relevant to discuss why. If you do want to know, it's because I wanted to show you guys the state of the environment post checkpoint, because it's likely that you might fail. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that should you fail, just realize that this is the route. So if you want to follow me move for move over here, once you get into that room after you take care of that soldier, you might as well consult the menu, and it'll show you that you just got a checkpoint less than a minute ago. And this is the state of the environment, getting the checkpoint and then resetting after. So the soldier across the way shooting those, I don't know if they're civilians or I don't know what, he was shooting somebody across the distance. He's going to give you his back, and he's going to be the kill that we do after this guy, and he really shouldn't give you a problem. In fact, I'm just going to move this guy right behind here, just in case, as he's turning to face away from us, he kind of glances behind him. I don't think he will in any case. There's the soldier going down the stairs to repeat his path. Now, since I know that if I don't move this body, the guy that just went down the stairs is likely going to be aggroed by seeing this downed guy's body. I'm going to move this guy and put him behind here so that the guy that we're going to kill as our last victim won't see anything as he's coming up here. Now, I did get the warning music over here. Now, you'll see where I'm standing, right by this bottle over here. So, to prevent getting the warning music and maybe making it into where he might see you, stay a little bit to the left. I was too far. I mean, excuse me. Stay over to the right a little bit more than where I am. I did get the warning music, so all you've got to do now is just wait behind this container, and at length you will see the soldier coming up the stairs. And don't worry, he's going to turn the corner there. He'll never come on your side, and then just grab him. You do a violent takedown, and he's dead. I don't know of any items in that whole area, so you're served up dog shit on this difficulty, guys. You get dog shit, and you're expected to like it as far as drops. You get absolutely junk for drops. I mean, sometimes you get something really good. Rarely you get a good, and it's always the same on everybody's campaign too. So it's not like I'm getting a lucky item, whereas you might not get it, or vice versa. So, I do like that consistency. But what I don't like is the. I've never liked the camera in Uncharted or Last of Us games. I've never. I don't know what it is. It feels Resident Evil 4-y, if you understand what I mean. It's just there's just no free spinning fastness to the camera. I was just playing Gears of War, and then when you move Gears of War 4 or Ninja Gaiden 2 or any game like that, when you move the right stick at the highest sensitivity, it spins around the character really fast. And this game just doesn't have that. It's just lumbering. It's arthritic. It's not fast. So thank God there's a 180 turn. I mean, without that. But anyway, we're coming to the close of the chapter, guys. And as you can expect, if you follow my channel a lot, you know that I divide chapters up into individual videos. So as this is chapter 1, it's going to be the first video. So I'm not recalling right now in my mind how many chapters there are, but however many they are, they'll all be represented. The prologue I just call in my mind chapter 0. So. And this is a fantastic game. It's absolutely stunning to look at. I just wish the look sensitivity was faster. So that's why you see me just doing this, because I don't want to mess around with the camera. So, have you gone through the game no damage, Sarah? No, I haven't actually. I am concerned about a couple parts, but beyond that, I never just make a whole guide and then start doing the commentaries, because the feeling's not the same at that point for me personally. I like to make the commentaries as I'm doing the videos. For some reason, I've just always done that. I do whatever works for me, and you do whatever works for you. But if things just aren't working out for you, I hope that this can help you in some way. Look how beautiful this game is. It's absolutely stunning. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching my walkthrough. I hope that it's going to help you get through Grounded, whether you're doing it for no damage or not. You don't get a trophy for it, but it's just an additional challenge that I'm adding just a little bonus challenge for myself. And so I will see you guys in chapter 2. Thank you very much for watching the first video of my no damage series for Grounded difficulty for The Last of Us Remastered. And please take care.